I'm coming up on 1 decade of pastoring Passion Creek Church, and a lot of things have changed. Obviously, I went from being like super idealistic to very pessimistic to now just realizing so much of this just takes time. And I think that's the biggest change that has happened in this last decade that I wish I could impart to younger leaders is this will take time, and you need to have a new relationship with how you understand time and how you plan for the future. Just the other day, I ran into a great church planner who was frustrated with a timeline. They were having an opportunity for a property, but in their eyes, it felt like it wasn't gonna come fast enough. And I cracked up because now, 10 years into this, I almost was thinking, what you want, like you need that full 18 to 24 months. You need that sort of time. And I just remember thinking of time that way too. It is the end of August and I am out here planning for 2026. And I think that's funny because in years past, definitely 10 years ago, in August, I was thinking about September. But now I see you need things to bake. Just trying to think through what is the overall trajectory of our church? What's the goal? How am I going to build up each series off of another? And again, 10 years ago, I'd have thought it would have been the silliest thing in the world to prep for January when it's only August. But it's interesting how when you do this long enough, you start to think not in days, but in decades. You certainly don't think in weeks, you start to think in years. It's a balance though, because something I love about younger pastors is that sense of urgency. Like there can be where you take all of this too far and everything is too slow. So I'm trying to balance all of that. So there's a lot that we're doing right now. There's a lot that we have planned in the fall, but I also know as a lead pastor, my goal, my job is to think even bigger picture. So I just am spending 24 hours here at the cabin, kind of wrestling through what are some of the ideas, themes, topics. I'm looking a lot at Ezra and Nehemiah. I'm thinking a lot about spiritual warfare. I'm trying to figure out how do I form a teaching calendar that builds off of each other? How do I bring this back to Pastor Caleb, my associate pastor, to also process and get his wisdom and discernment on what's happening within the life of our church. So it's just really nice that I'm doing this at the end of August because I have September to wrestle with this and October, even through November. But this also gives me time to contact my designer and make sure we have something completely ready for January. We are big believers in annual themes, and we talk about that at pastorsourdirectors.com, our resource that we're creating for smaller church pastors who are trying to thrive as Sunday directors, spiritual directors, and staff directors. And that's a whole nother thing I've been focusing on here at the cabin is staff directing. Just thinking through how am I best equipping my staff? What are the SOPs that we need to create? What are the processes we need to write down?
And the problem is without SOPs, all the knowledge stays in our instincts. It stays in our head, and we can't quite communicate to someone who wants to join in what to do. I live this. I poured concrete, guys, for 12 years. I still don't know how to pour concrete. I have no idea. No one taught me anything, so I just kind of learned along the way, but I literally don't know what I'm doing. I shovel in certain places. It's pathetic. I don't know, because no one wrote it down, and it didn't happen by osmosis. Just being around it doesn't mean you'll actually figure it out. So I think that's the step for us. We need SOPs to take away the guesswork. Here's the two things I want to make sure we think about with SOPs and SRPs. SRPs and SOPs should not feel like the SATs, okay?
Y'all, pastoring never ends. There's always something else to think about, to create, and I love and hate that part of the job. It is kind of funny every time I go out here. It's literally for 24 hours, and people think I'm crazy, but the drive is helpful for me. I just need time to think and to process, and I never get as much done here at the cabin as I thought. However, what I always do is I'm introducing these new concepts and ideas to wrestle with and to process. But I think oftentimes I realize when I'm here, I need my team to finish this, I need my team to create this doc. I need my team to help me with their wisdom. But my goal is kind of these bigger picture. Can I bring up these problems and solutions and how do we get there? But man, I think it's actually such a gift that things take time. It takes 18 months to get people rallied around an idea and to disciple them to be ready for the next step. And so that's just what we're trying to do with our land that we have. I'm really trying to make sure 2026 we focus so much on slowly building our people, but also how do we build a building? This really great book, oh man, I'll put it right here. I don't remember what it's called, but John Tyson referenced it a couple weeks ago on Instagram. I've been reading, and what I really like about kind of the thesis of this book that's helping me both in preaching calendar, which is why I'm thinking through the preaching calendar here in August for January, but also in this building process, is he says you need to think slow and then act fast. And a lot of people think fast and act slow. And so what we're doing now is thinking through all the different variables. What are the pros and cons to everything? How do we, but then when January comes, man, we're pressing play. We're doing the playbook when it comes to our teaching calendar. And we want to do this for the building. Like, I've already had 18 ideas for the building that I was like totally convinced this is exactly what we need to do. Starting in January, when I first thought we were going to get the land. And I'm so grateful that there has been hiccups and blockades and obstacles, because now 6 months later I realize, some of those ideas, I understand where I was going, but it's not going to work, or the finances aren't great, or this doesn't even match with the DNA of our church. So think slow, act fast. Are you already thinking of 2026? Don't be discouraged if you're not, but I highly suggest that you start putting that on the calendar.
Thank you for watching today's video. This is the video I think you should watch. This is the video YouTube says you should watch.